Now, you start off with, let me just set what in January 2019, what Defense Intelligence Agency said. It said China likely will field a ground-based laser weapon that can counter low orbit space-based sensors by 2020. That means they can threaten our sensor now, okay? And by the mid to late 2020s, it may field higher power systems. I will tell you what do they mean by higher power in a minute. That extend the threat to the structure of the satellites. Okay, the difference between structure, that means they can attack the outside. So that means they have a much better angle to attack. If you want to attack the sensor, you have to get into the telescope, which is a lot more difficult. So that's the difference between the two. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, slide 13. And there's an Indian colonel, Vinay Yadav, is a satellite imagery analyst. He discovered that Chinese Xinjiang has a high power laser facilities, 4 buildings, and the important thing is they all have sliding roofs, okay? And then 3 of them would have laser in it, okay? So this point will be quite important. And then on the other hand, he also said there are other 4 other facilities are like that. The point that I'm trying to make is that, well, the good news is they have a sliding roof. So that means for the last resort, if we want to counterattack them, we have no other choice. We might hit this laser facility as one of the last resort defense for us. So that's the point. Okay.
Could you, Brian, could you discuss what the peaceful or civil applications of ground-based laser?
Okay. Now, Henry is always one step ahead of me. Okay, for these are really called high power ones. Okay, if you ask them, they just make up some reasons that. But your question is on the next chart. Let me go into. Okay, the next chart is is this one. So what Henry asking me actually is more pertaining to this chart. It turns out they have something called satellite laser ranging stations. Chinese has 5 of them and 2 mobile, altogether 7 of them. US has, and many countries have these things. And it's amazing, this thing, in terms of peaceful application. They can measure the distance to a satellite to sub-centimeter precision. Can you imagine? You can measure the distance to so accurate. So, which means that because of this peaceful application, you cannot bend them. This is just like the our spacecraft, because they have commercial things, they cannot bend them. So you have to live with them. So that is the key point. Okay, now, and then it goes back to the first one. China, they are no dummies. They can always come up with good reasons. They can say, oh, now that the NASA, remember NASA is sending something to kind of defect an asteroid so that it won't hit the Earth. I mean, they can do anything. The simple thing is, they want to measure the distance from here to the moon within centimeters. They need a much high power one. And that's why they go to the first chart I showed you, the high power. Okay, they can even show, they need the laser to defect the asteroid. I mean, they can make up reasons. Okay, so that's the connectivity of that. They are dual use. Okay, you cannot ban them. So then the question is, if you cannot ban them, what can you do? Now there, I'm showing you next is the op-ed that I did with Henry on the next one. Okay, but I want to tell you a major distinction. Now these things, currently, they have very low voltage, watt. You're talking about 1 watt, 10 watt. Okay, can you go back to the earlier chart first? Book, go back to the 14. Yep. Okay, you notice that these are 1 watt and 40 watts. The earlier chart, the high power one, we don't know what it is, but my guess is you are talking about 100 kilowatt. So it's 100 kilowatt versus 40 watt. Okay. On the other hand, even though you have watts, but I bet my bottom dollar before long, they will increase it to maybe 100 and 200 there. But these things, if they want to damage our sensor, no problem. They can do that. Because sensor is to measure very weak signals. So if you put 40 watts to it or 100 watts to it, if you can get in, they say, wow, it will burn the pixel, it will burn the filter just the same. So that's the bad news. The good news is they got to be very next to the target that you want to hit. And my estimate is about 10 kilometers away from it. Okay, so that would relate to what Henry and I thinking about the response on the next chart. I want to see the distinction between hitting the sensors and hitting the exterior. Hitting the sensor is very difficult because you have to put right next to the target.